Today we are diving into Dark Winds, Season 3, Episode 5. Welcome to Screens in Focus, the podcast where we talk about TV and movies. I'm Diana. Renee is here. Hi, Renee. How are you?
Hello, I'm doing very well. Gearing up for all this talk about this episode. How are you?
I'm good. We have so much to cover, and I'm really excited to get to it. But before we get to Dark Winds, I wanted to take a moment to honor Val Kilmer because he recently passed April 1st. He was 65 years old, and his work meant a lot to so many people. And he gave us so many unforgettable performances over the years, iconic, emotional, cool, quirky, just one of a kind. And it's a deep loss. So in his memory, I thought it would be great to talk about maybe a favorite movie we have or favorite moments that we saw from him. Does anything come to mind for you for Val Kilmer?
Yeah, so one role that I really loved him in was when he portrayed Jim Morrison in The Doors. And, he did a great job. And they had the look down, spot on. They couldn't have done, I don't think they could have cast any better. And to me, the movie wasn't that great. I didn't really care for the movie so much, but his performance was just incredible. He just embraced it all. And I just really enjoyed his performance in that movie. So that was the one that first popped into my mind.
I so agree with you on that. It wasn't my favorite movie at the time, but he was incredible. And I've read that so many people, that other members and people that really knew him, I'm talking about Jim Morrison, not Val Kilmer, but they said it was just so amazing, his portrayal, and that he sang his own songs. So to do that, be able to do all that and immerse yourself into these characters, the characters that you portrayed that are real people, it's a real hard thing to do. And he did it so well. And that did come to mind. Also, Tombstone came to mind, Doc Holliday, and he was phenomenal in that movie. It makes me want to go watch it right now. But for me, what the first movie I think about is Top Gun. I can't help it. I see him as Iceman so much. It's just him. And, you don't like him at first, or actually 3/4 or 7/8 of the way. Like, you're getting in the way and coming up against Maverick here. But, toward the end, they're each other's wingmen, or one of them says, "You could be my wingman." He's all, "No, you could be my wingman." And then they give each other that bro hug. That's very iconic. And then to see him reprise that role in Maverick and be able to do it with his throat cancer and all of that. But, it was just miraculous for him to be able to do it. And I know there was some AI involved with his voice, which was very cool, but it was nice to see him in this with Tom Cruise. So I just thought that was a great movie amongst so many others. In thinking about this, I went through some of his other TV and movies, and I saw some of his earlier work that I had seen back then, but I didn't realize it was Val Kilmer at the time. But he's so funny. He has great comedic timing, and he's one of those actors that could do it all. So he just has a great body of work. So everyone out there, tell us what your favorite is. We would love to hear what your favorite Val Kilmer movie or moment is, because, an icon gone too soon for sure. All right. So we are going to get to Dark Winds, and the question of the day is inspired by Chee, because in this episode, he sings Al Green's "Let's Stay Together," which we'll talk about later, but we're going to get to our question of the day right now. The question of the day is, what's a 70s song that still hits you in the feels? Okay? And those 70s songs can do it to you. So I cannot wait to hear what Renee's is. I cannot wait to hear from all of you to hear what yours is. And we're going to answer that later on in the episode, because right now we want to get to episode 5 that had so many things happening. Renee, what was your overall thought on the episode?
Well, first of all, I thought it sped by too fast. I was like, "Oh, it's over I really thought there was more to the episode.
Yeah.
I mean, I know there was a lot, but it's still like, just for some reason, time-wise, I felt like,
Yeah.
it's over already. But overall, I thought it was incredible again. And it just, continues to build these stories, get pieced together better, and more things happen. We see Mrs. Vines show up. We haven't seen her forever. Yeah. Another great episode with a lot of new information.
Yeah, I agree with you about it feeling like it's over. Because I look at the clock sometimes when it's so good and I'm like, it's not going to end yet. It's not going to end yet, is it? Or I check how far along the recording on my DVR is. But yeah, you want more. And I love it when a show or a movie does that, where you're like, no, don't end. I need to know more. And thinking about this episode, I think this is one of my favorites. Mm-hmm. I think because of the excitement I had, I felt like there was just so many exciting things that happened. And so I know we're going to break it all down, but between Joe and Emma, what happened there, between Washington and her warrant, and just all of that, and Chee and him singing, being drinking, and that we get to finally see George. It's like, whoa, we finally get to see him. I felt like it moved forward a lot. And like you said, BJ Vines, his wife. Yeah. So a lot happened in this. Okay. So what were some of the key points or highlights for you?
Well, I loved the opening. I thought that was really great how we got to see him process what had happened and what's going on. And, just him, getting cleaned up after all the blood, or just that whole process. I love that, how they, just opened it right up like it was, the next thing that happened, and so I really enjoyed that. But I think, with Joe, he's, he has all this guilt and everything. And I think he feels pretty helpless at this point, because it's nothing he's doing is helping anything. Like, he just can't get ahead. Every time he thinks, oh, wait, maybe this is, leading somewhere, it kind of just doesn't. And then to lose this witness, they've arrested Halsey, they arrested him, but he was going to be a witness for them. And then he gets killed and he couldn't protect him. So I just feel like he's really, just really helpless at this point, or it feels that way anyway, with a lot of this stuff.
I really like that beginning portion too. I thought it was very cool the way they did it. And it scared me when they did that noise with his mouth open and like screaming. I got scared the heck out of me. And I was trying to figure out, is this what is going on in his head? What is this representing? But I really liked it. I loved you could hear the clicking of the camera as they were showing different shots, and his emotion. He was deeply affected by this. And then I kept thinking, are they going to think he did it? And then for a moment, I thought, Joe didn't do this, did he? Did he have split personality and something happens to you? And just when he had that conversation with the medicine woman, could, him feeling out of balance and just feeling like he's crossed this line that he talked about, monster and man. So yeah, I love how that beginning part transitioned into their music, their intro music. Oh, it was so
yeah, it was very well done.
Yeah, I loved it. It was so good.
Yeah.
What else?
And then, Emma, just all the stuff she's going through, she's trying to process. It's like she's almost reliving the loss of her son. She is feeling betrayed by Joe. She come to the decision he needs to leave because she can't live like this and have all this, over their heads. And then she goes through all that. Then the FBI shows up and it's just like, she is just like, that's the last straw. She just doesn't even know what to do. And I mean, her performance has been outstanding. I love that they've put a lot of focus on her this season. And I just think she's done an incredible job. Just a very raw emotion. And she conveys that really well. So I guess as a wife, you just think about all these things she's going through and you're like, oh my gosh, how horrible it's this. So I kind of have that, feel for her and have some compassion for what she's going through.
I can't help but feel for Joe and experience what Joe is feeling. So I do like that they show what Emma is feeling too. Because we will forget. Like if he just came and told the story, oh, my wife, she kicked me out. We'd be like mad at her, right?
Yeah.
We'd be like, oh, what are you talking about? What is she kicking you out for? But when we see what she is experiencing, it's different. It's different than just being told what is happening. So yeah, it's very important to see her side of all of that too, and what she's going through. But you and I had talked about, would she have Joe's back? And of course we thought she would, and she did. She absolutely did, even though she was mad about it. She's like,
I don't want to do this, but I will.
Yeah.
Because she knows his heart. She knows him, and that this is an extreme situation. Right or wrong, it's an extreme situation, and she knows his true heart, that he is, abides by the laws and generally and that kind of thing.
Well, he does. That's why this is affecting him. Because if it didn't, he'd just be going on his merry way. But it is affecting him because this isn't him and how he responds to things. So yeah, it is tough for him. Absolutely.
And then we have Ivan and Bernadette and their crazy honeymoon.
I know.
It's like, what is going on? But I mean, it's just her pushing these boundaries where I, continue to just wait until she's in trouble somehow. But I rewound that whole scene where Budge and the guys were chasing them and that. And I wondered if he did that intentionally. Like they weren't that far ahead of them. And then all of a sudden they're gone. There's no vehicle. There's no anything. I feel like he knew where they were and he threw that guy down to shoot him. So Bernadette would realize that he is, he means business, kind of as a warning to her, because that was just too convenient. Like it was like, these guys don't give up, that's not his MO. He will, take care of whatever needs done, So I wondered about that, if that was just his way of warning her. I don't know.
Good thought. Good thought. I don't think I thought that in particular, but that makes sense. Because you're right. Because I wondered that too. Like, oh, you're going to let them get away. But you know what? He also might just like, okay, I'll kill her the next time I see her or whoever it is.
Yeah.
But they looked like they were far away when they were looking at, and they saw the reflection. They looked like they were far away. So I don't know how the car drove up that fast to right where they were at. I would have thought they would have gotten away or were able to get away further than they had. But yeah, so that was a scary moment. I know this whole thing with Bernadette and Ivan are back, forth. Which one is it? Tell, you guys are playing with this here. You're dangling one string and then dangling another. So I don't know.
I know.
It's hard to say, especially with that rubber band.
Yep.
That rubber band on his money. And she's like, oh, zeroed in on that.
Yeah.
Because we saw it. We saw it at the truck exchange too. And it's so funny. We saw those big yellow balls again that I thought were bowling balls in an earlier episode, but they're bigger than that. And I'm like, what is in those balls? And they were coming out of a chute. I'm like, what are these things? They'll tell us eventually.
So much, and that's when the rubber band situation where we're like, okay, now you think he's on their side, right? So with Ivan, when he said something about not wanting to end up dead, I was like, is he thinking, because they're investigating, or is he thinking because he's betraying Spencer and Budge and that organization? If he is on their side.
Well, I don't know, because we don't know what side he's on. But if it was, I was thinking that he was just trying to warn her, like, hey, this guy means business. Look, we saw this guy get killed in front of us, so we don't want to end up dead. That's if he's with Bernadette. If he's not, then I think he's just saying, hey, we saw somebody get killed. That could end up as us, even though he knows he will be spared. But I think he's got to care for her. And is that just trying to throw us off? Like, where did that green rubber band come from? Who's to say? Maybe that patrol woman gave it to him. We don't really know yet.
Absolutely. Yeah. It just seems odd that they they kind of focused on it when we first saw it with Budge, and then now, she sees it and she recognized it. I mean, she knew, right away, and that made her think that he is. But it could just be to throw us off. Who knows? It is hard to say. But I mean, this show takes you in every direction, and as soon as you think you have something figured out, it's like, nope, that wasn't even right.
For sure, it does. I did want to bring up that woman that came to cleanse the precinct and then tells Joe that she wants to talk to him, and he takes her back and they have that conversation. And I love that he feels open to talk to her about these things. And she does talk about the pollen road or the pollen path, because I thought, what does that mean? What does that mean? So I had to look it up. And it is in Navajo culture, and it is a sacred symbol representing an individual's journey of having that balance. And I think it emphasizes Hosho, which is peace, beauty, balance, and harmony, and its spiritual growth. And it's often visualized in sand paintings and is a reminder to live in balance with the earth, the sky, and all the living things. And I think all she is trying to tell him is you need to get back on the path. Now, how he is supposed to get back on the path, I don't know. We are going to have to see. I mean, it's easier said than done. It's easy to say it, but how are you going to do it? So,
that was very interesting.
Yeah, I love that stuff that they put in here.
Mm-hmm.
It's my favorite stuff.
Washington, I was thinking too about the raid, and when they were in his car, they were picking up a hair and putting it into the bag.
I didn't see that.
They had the guy, there's maybe two guys in one in the front seat, one in the back seat. And the guy in the back seat had a little envelope and tweezers, and it looked like, maybe it could have been a thread, I suppose, because it looks kind of thick, to be able to see it, but you could definitely tell it was something thin that they were putting into like an envelope, evidence envelope. So that could be a key to something, and maybe not, but they definitely, showed it. And so I was like, oh, so it'll be interesting to see if that has anything to do with vines.
Okay, so a couple of thoughts are going through my head as you're saying that. One is that it's been 6 months, and you'd think that Joe would clean out, vacuum his car, for one. And two, what were they testing in the 70s? Like, could they test hair, or are they just looking at the color? I'm just curious to know that aspect.
Because I'm not certain. I just know that they they showed it, so I felt that it was a little bit important. But my thing is too, with him vacuuming the car, he wasn't smart enough not to drive his own car. He wasn't thinking about that. He drove his own vehicle to pick him up. So I mean, I don't know. I just feel like just where his mind's at right now, he's not thinking of a lot of details and stuff.
True.
It just, but again, I don't know what testing was available, but there had to have been some kind of testing then, because they were, to me, hair.
Well, it could be this is hair is gray or gray black or whatever Vine's hair was. I don't know. Or maybe they can match it to something he was wearing. I don't really know at this point. But they also came out with boxes of files. I'm like, what is that? Like, is that really anything? Or are you just putting that in there? Because I'm thinking, what could he have? Because when they first came into his house, I'm like, what are they going to find in his house? What could they possibly find? Because all he did was put him in the car and take him. So I don't know.
It's not like a weapon. He didn't. So it's probably just she's got enough evidence to issue the warrant. I don't know what they would be looking for exactly.
And why was there a warrant? Did she go talk to that woman that saw something, or is she just going based off of what she knows so far? Because she said, oh, get his weapon for the moment while he was there. And then they said they were going to handcuff him or whatever they were going to do. She goes, oh, don't bother with that. And then they leave. So I know they're just gathering evidence right now. So I'm not sure based on what.
Vine's wife, she said that the neighbor told her about the car, his vehicle being there that night. So, maybe that was enough. I don't know how much it takes to get a warrant,
Yeah, exactly.
She's got a lot of pieces, and I don't think she can really fit anything together necessarily, but maybe it was just enough to do that. I don't know.
Yeah.
So.
Well, because they didn't handcuff him, they didn't take him in or anything like that. So they're just looking.
Well, I think
right
she
now.
just knows he's not going anywhere. I think she realizes that he's, not going to run or anything like that.
Yeah. And I am loving watching Chee. Now, this time we're watching Chee and Joe investigate. We see a lot of Joe investigate, going through that paperwork as he's sitting in the back of his car after he's thrown out of his house, putting the pieces together. And I loved watching him circle things because all of us were like, what clues is he putting? What are we finding? And I loved seeing that. And I loved seeing that's how Joe's mind works and what he's thinking and how he thinks. And then bringing that to Chee. And then Chee's doing his own investigation with calling Bernadette and getting Budge's name. So I'm going to call him Barge again. Getting Budge's name and bringing that back, and those two going to the restaurant and talking to that waitress and all of that. So I loved seeing all of that and that investigation and where it's leading him, because it is leading Joe somewhere. So he's a good detective in this. So
it's fun to see that process. And I loved the waitress, and she's like the tip and the baby shoes. And she goes and he writes it down. And she was not messing with them. I thought that was hilarious.
Well, he wasn't writing it down. She's, aren't you going to write it down? So then he's all, okay. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
That was very funny.
She was hilarious. And the whole Budge looking like a Mexican Norman Bates, but creepier or whatever she said. Oh my God.
I know. It was very, she was good comic relief right there in that scene.
Yeah, she was. It was good. It was good to watch them. But yes, their investigation is going well. And I think that's why it was so exciting. I think that's why I liked it, because I felt like we were moving forward. We were seeing it. So, and like I'd mentioned earlier on, that Joe was able to put things together and figure out who to ask and to find his way to George.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah, and I was glad that she finally gave me some emotion for me to feel bad for him. Like last week I told you, I said I just don't feel much emotion from either one of them. And so it was really good to see him actually express that in the back of that vehicle. And he's drunk and he says, I'll throw myself in the jail tomorrow for Republican talks, He told Shorty that, So I just thought that was good. But yeah, that was good to see him actually express some emotion. So that made me kind of feel bad for him now.
So I want to talk about Chee just a little bit more. So we might as well dive into our characters and our themes. Chee was drinking pickle juice. Is that a thing? Because I don't even know if it is.
Can do pickle juice actually is really good for people. I know when you have muscles sore and things like that, pickle juice does something. It's probably salt or something. So I guess it must be a hangover thing too. Then
that vinegar, in there. I don't know what it is.
Something. The combination, but I know it's good for a lot of things and people drink it for medicinal purposes.
Well, it's kind of hard to take him seriously when he's giving Joe some, really good information and he keeps drinking out of that pickle jar. I'm like, I was like, so, but okay, him singing that song. Okay, I didn't know it was him. I just hear somebody singing that song. I'm like, I love this song. It's so good. And they're at a bar and I'm thinking, they're showing Shorty come out of this bar, some drunk singing that song.
And it was.
I did not know it was Chee, though. I really didn't. It was so good. It was so good. It must have been so much fun sitting there singing that song. I was singing it. I was singing it from the couch, out loud. I was singing with him. I'm like, I love this song. My husband is probably all, what the heck are you doing? But anyway, I couldn't help it because it was a great song. But yes, I love seeing Chee, like you had said, just express all this emotion. And then now him and Shorty are getting along great. And Shorty takes him home. And I think he tells him basically, if, there's a woman, you have somebody, tell them and don't let them go. And otherwise you're just going to end up by yourself or whatever. I thought that was nice to put in on something that can be so heavy in this series with everything that they're going through. So it was a little bit of lightness, even though it's heartbreak for him. Yeah. And he's, questioning, why didn't I do this sooner? Or why didn't I act sooner? But, you have to go through your emotions and figure out your way. So I don't know. We'll see what happens with them.
Yeah, it was just very uncharacteristic of him. So I think that's what made it more, just that much more funny because he's usually pretty serious about it.
Yes, he
It's kind of
is.
fun to see him in this.
I did like the information that he gave to Joe that he learned from his FBI buddy about what type of person Budge is, and that they're putting out an APB on him, and
that he worked the CIA in Guatemala, and that he had done like the wet work or whatever. Yeah. So then he could definitely have been the one which we kind of talked about who killed Halsey. I mean, if that's his training, he could easily have snuck in there, got it, and got out. So he definitely could have been that person then.
Yeah.
So
absolutely
interesting to see because I don't think he's going to go down easy when they come to get him.
No. Oh, can't wait. I'm already counting down the episodes. I'm like, what do you mean we only have 3 more?
No, but at least they're already casting for the next season, so that's exciting.
Oh, are they? I didn't know that.
That's been announcements already.
Oh, nice. That's cool.
So,
all right. So what other themes or what other relationships?
I just keep asking, right? Yeah, are we dealing with spiritual, supernatural, or is this like a person? Like who is this monster? One of those final scenes when he was up there, we were behind him, so it wasn't Joe's imagination because we could see him, the thing standing there, among the rocks and stuff, and Joe looked up and he saw him, but we saw him from the back. So it's not like it was his, him imagining that. We keep wondering about the ants and all these different things that he keeps seeing, but this thing is there. So who is it? What's happening?
The only thing is that figure looked like a man, looked like a guy dressed up in something.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean, because this is going to lead into, this will probably be the same type of thing, that beginnings episode that we
exactly.
Yes. And so I thought that thing looked like that also. But obviously, when it attacked them in that barn or shack or whatever that was, so that thing is like a human thing or something. It's somebody dressed up. They're using it as this monster. We go back to when they found the thing in Ernesto's mouth. They said, oh, a Navajo wouldn't do this and this and that. Well, it's obviously somebody who knows their culture and their practices and things. So is it just someone dressing up? It's just bizarre because then we do see Joe experiencing something.
Yeah.
Not a human being doing that to him. There's obviously, these other things going on. So it's just it's very complex.
So true. And I don't think like this person is, for sure, we know it's not Budge, but I think that this is something separate. It's whoever was there, whoever killed Ernesto, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And we still have not seen the doctor and Teddy. It's like, why have we not seen them? And I know they're going to come back and play because why would they introduce them in the first episode and second episode? And we haven't seen them since, and we still don't know the connection. So I'm hoping that we get to that. But that horse was spooked too. And a horse isn't going to be spooked by just a person because animals sense things. So what's at play here?
It's very hard to know at this point.
We need that spiritual balance. Come on, Joe. You need to make things right again so this stuff isn't happening. Yeah. But the things that he's experiencing, they're pretty scary too. I kept, when he was sleeping in his car and then when he's out there, I'm afraid with him. Looking there where George is at, I'm like, I don't know what's happening here. I don't know why you're out there by yourself. But
all that wind keeps coming up, that's, and that's not somebody doing that. That's not a person doing it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, Joe is definitely fighting, for his soul here. So I did see a lot of guilt and redemption. Oh, I'm kind of going back to with him and Emma. Doesn't divulge anything to Washington, and Washington leaves. Joe goes over to her and touches her, but she's like, it's almost like, don't touch me.
Yeah.
So it's a tough place for him to be. And then Bernadette, she gets that call from Chee. I don't know, but she's so infatuated with Ivan right now. I still think at this point that something's going to happen to Ivan.
There's just so many things going on. It's hard to know who's safe and who's not.
I know. And she just has those seeds of doubt now. And I loved hearing more about that story about Joe.
Oh, yeah, that was great.
Yeah, when Ivan asked her, and I had forgotten she was in the Army. I love how she talked about it, and Ivan saying, "Oh, this boss of yours sounds like a pretty good guy." And she's all, "Yeah, he follows a code."
Yeah.
And she says, "And that's probably why I do too." I liked her talking about Joe in that way and their relationship, and just hearing what he's done for her and what it means to her, and also hearing about what she's experienced too, about being in that car accident and being in a coma and just trying to figure out her way also.
Yeah, it's always fun to learn more of their backstory and from her point of view. We've heard some of it from Joe or whatever, but it's nice to hear her experience with it.
Yeah. When it comes to thoughts, theories, and takeaways, Ivan's money, is he the leak? That's what we have to figure out. Hopefully we'll figure out by next episode. This monster, I really think that we are going to see that first episode come in here, especially because George tells him, get up before it comes or he comes. So George must be experiencing something out here, and all, the things he puts around as just alerting himself to people's comings and goings. So, but it is a dart in the neck. So that makes me feel like it's a person, because if it wasn't a person, they don't have to put a dart in your neck.
Right.
So
I know it's because it's like the same thing. We're seeing this wind. And so that's not a person standing there with a fan. And then with the horse, maybe, I know sometimes horses are like certain smells will spook them. So they could possibly the person could have something on them that I'm just like totally speculating here, trying to piece it out. But then, like you said, Joe gets shot with an arrow dart, and that's not going to be an entity. That's not going to be, you know what I mean? That's not going to happen. So is this thing a witch person or something? That's, yeah.
Well, you like that theory. I think you were thinking that last week too.
Yeah. It's like, I just keep thinking, because we saw that in the other season where that gal were able to do all those things. So
it could very well be. Yeah. Because they need all the help they can get to fight off all the law. Oh man, so much good happened in this episode, but then so many more questions that we have.
Yeah.
So many more. And then Emma, I'm wondering where Emma's standpoint, yes, she kicked him out, but at the same time, she is backing him up. And I'm just curious what's going to get them, what's going to happen? Like, what's going to transpire? Is she just going to keep on this path for a while? Because it may take her a long time to forgive him, or maybe she won't at all.
Yeah. Or maybe like with him getting injured, we know he gets that arrow to his neck. Sometimes something like that will like snap you back to think, okay, this is my husband, make her like second guess what she's thinking or whatever. Sometimes something tragic like that happens, and then it kind of like makes you remember why you're with that person. Or it could just be maybe she just can't be around him for a while or something. But
I agree with you, because that's what I would think too. Something happens, and then she, realizes that today is more important than just things I'm feeling. But of course, he did do something big. He did leave someone to die and didn't tell her. And now, there's a raid on her house and everything else.
Oh yeah, this is big.
I know this is big, but also she does know Joe. She knows his heart. She knows what he's going through. And this is the thing. This is the thing about relationships. Yeah, maybe Joe shouldn't have done it. But like I said, he didn't kill him. He didn't actually kill him. He could have survived. I really do believe people can survive certain things. But relationships is what I was thinking to myself. And this relationship that they're going through. And I hear Joe and I hear what he's saying. I understand what he's saying. And I'm thinking, what other position where else could he have gone with this? I almost feel like Joe didn't have another route to go. I mean, he could have just let it go, but how do you do that? How do you let someone killing your son and, other people and getting away with it? That is hard to do.
Yeah.
Especially when it's someone like this. It's not just somebody who accidentally or somebody robbing somebody. No, it's this rich person, and that's all that they wanted was more money. That's what they wanted, was their greed. of what they wanted to get, and your relative, your family, your love was in the way of that. So, I mean, it's hard for Joe. It's like, what was Joe supposed to do? At the same time, it's hard for Emma. So I realize it's hard for both of them. So how do you navigate this type of situation when I feel like both of them have valid points and there's no easy answer? It's not like one can just say, hey, I'm sorry, and move forward. There has to be more to it than that. So I just wonder what that's going to be and how long that would be. And in saying that, I'm also thinking about Bernadette, because I keep thinking she's not going to end up with Ivan. He's either going to possibly die or get imprisoned. I don't know. Whatever his route is, I think that she has to come back from this, and she may come back, to the Navajo police, department, tribal police. And if she does, of course, Chee's going to be there to support her, but she's not going to be ready for that. So they have to go through something. So in my mind, these things may not even be resolved until next season.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's my feeling on it. I think that right now we're going to be concentrating on the mysteries and the death and all of that.
Yeah.
And all the other stuff is going to have to wait, which is going to make it all the more intriguing, because we're going to be like, what's going to happen with all of them? All right. Is there anything else about this episode? Anything come to mind before we wrap up?
Nope, I don't think so.
Okay. I know we covered a lot. There was a lot, but we're going to get back to our question of the day, which is, what 70s song still hits you in the feels?
The first one that popped in my head was "You Light Up My Life" by Debbie Boone. I just remember their voice and that the lyrics, and it's just a beautiful song. And so I was trying to think of something that, like tugged on my emotions or something, and that was the one that popped into my head first.
That's a great one. And there are so many. I had one that popped into my head, and then I had another one that popped into my head. The first one that came to mind was "Superstar" by the Carpenters. I love Karen Carpenter's deep voice when she sings. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful. And that song was also sung on American Idol by Ruben Studdard. He covered it and sang it several times when he won American Idol. That was so many years ago, I know. But that song is just so good. But the other song that really gets me in the feels is "I Want to Make It With You," or "Make It With You" by Bread. Love that song. And it's just so moving. I have the links to that in our show notes. So if anybody's interested, doesn't know what songs I'm talking about, make sure you check them out, because they're great songs. I will put the link to Renee's choice in there too, because sometimes it's really good to be nostalgic and take you back and listen to these great songs. So friends out there, let us know what your answer is. What 70s song puts you in the feels? We want to know. You can comment wherever you're listening or watching us. You can get to all of our social media at screensandfocus.com, which is in our show notes. You can even call us at 669-223-8542. 8542. I have the right phone number. Cool. Anyway, because we want to know what song that is. All right. That is a wrap up of episode 5 of Dark Winds. We are going to shift gears and go into our TV and movie recommendations. So Renee, what do you have for us this week?
Well, I'm in the middle of so many things. I haven't had a chance to do anything new because I'm still trying to watch all of these. So I did finish The Residence, which is on Netflix.
Ooh, okay.
And I really liked it. I thought it could have been an episode or two short. It kind of dragged there a little bit. I mean, it was really good overall, and I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. Always love a good whodunit kind of thing, and just, yeah, it's very well done. But it just, towards the end there, it just got a little long, I thought. But other than that, it was great. And we're watching The Pit. I think there's one episode left. I think I had announced that way too soon because I read the thing wrong. But anyway, yeah. So now we're getting ready for the season finale. And I'm really excited to see what happens because it just continues to surprise you. And has been renewed for a second season. And it is going to take place on a holiday weekend. So you know how the holidays in ER is just not. Well, that's what I read that online. So hopefully that's the truth. That's what it's going to be, because that will be very interesting. So I'm excited to see the end of this, and that there is another season coming. And I also watched the most recent Mobland again. Still enjoying that. It's just the second episode, but it's nothing spectacular, but it's good. You know, it's good. And then Happy Face also. We're just continuing to go through that. And then I finally finished The Great. I was watching that, and so I finally wrapped that one up. So now I took one out. I can try to find another one to add back in.
I know what you mean, because I'm going to go through mine right now. The first one is The Pit, because I told you I left off on 5 or 6 or something like that, but I was binging it daily, like several episodes. And yes, I got hooked as the further it went. Because in the beginning, you're just starting to learn about people and everything. And yes, they're showing you what's happening in the ER. But to me, yes, that's interesting. But I like knowing the people and their dynamics and what their relationships and all of that. So once you get to know everybody and feel all of that, that's when it starts to impact me. So yes, it's been so good. I have one more till I'm caught up. So I have 2 episodes this week, but it has been really, really good. So I see what everybody loves about it, and I highly recommend it. Like, I'm really loving it now. Like, I'm like, yes, I'm in. But I did wonder, how are they going to have this momentum? Because there are some days where things are kind of slow. It's not where tons of stuff is happening. So that's a good idea, having it on a holiday weekend. But how long can you keep that up, right?
And keep it up. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So one of the new things that I watch is the 3rd season that I have been watching. And it's because Diana, loves to watch love. So I watch Farmer Wants a Wife on Hulu. It's the 3rd season, and I like it. It was 3 episodes out. I will say that these I call them bachelors, these cowboy bachelors seem a little bit more like not your typical farmer. Okay. So I don't know if they ran out of farmers who were willing to be on TV or something, because the first 2 seasons, especially the first season, you felt like you were really going into a farmer. He was very awkward. Just there's what they farmed, just so many things. And now I feel like there might be some women and even the men who want to be on television too. So they want to be on television and they want to find love. Because one girl's on there who wants nothing to do with farm life at all. So I'm like, why did they even pick her as an option? Like, she wants nothing to do with it. She's a city girl. And so I find it very interesting. And I'm sure they casted her because they thought, oh, yeah, let's put her in the mix. People will watch. But for now, I'm watching it and I am really liking it still. So there's that. Now, I do want to say there were some season finales this week. 1923, season 2. It is the series finale. It was so good. 2 hours. Great season. Season 2 was awesome. If you watch this, if you stop during season 1, catch up, get to season 2. It's very good. The finale of White Lotus, season 3. It was really good. I liked it. I'm still not sure I'm sold as this is not my favorite season. I think I like season 2. That's my favorite season, but it's still a good watch. The Studio, the next episode came out. This is on Apple Plus TV. It continues to be excellent. It was really, really good. In fact, I'm liking this more as each episode goes on. So I think this is a great, great series. So tune into that. And I forgot to mention a movie that I watched, and I'm glad because I have it for you to share now. And that is called Holland. It's on Prime. It's with Nicole Kidman, Matthew McFadden, and Gael Garcia Bernal. I don't know if I'm saying his first name correctly, but it is a psychological thriller, but it got kind of panned. The Rotten Tomatoes is not very good, but I like it.
Okay.
I like this movie. So if you like psychological thrillers, you might like it too. I think people's expectations were way too high. She's married to a man. She knows something's off. She doesn't know what. She thinks he's having an affair. I believe she's a teacher, but she meets this guy. This guy is also there, her friend, but it ends up being maybe a little bit more than that, or her wanting more than that. But then she starts spying on her husband with him as they inch closer to what this possibly could be. And I'm not going to tell you because that'll give everything away. But I got scared for them. I thought, what are they going to find out? They're going to get caught looking, because he's an ophthalmologist, and they go through his office one day, and I feel like they're going to get caught. So it is definitely a psychological thriller, and I enjoyed it. Just don't go in with high hopes. Just go watch it for fun. Just like you just want to watch a movie, watch it. I recently watched Empire Records, and Renee and I have a short podcast on that, a bonus episode. So go look for that, but it'll be a fun conversation. So please tune in. Renee, I want to thank you so much for joining me today, and also for your recommendations.
And thanks for having me as always, because I love it so much, and I can't wait till we can talk more.
Yeah, me too. Me too. All right, friends out there, thank you for joining us today. And we hope we said something today that resonated with you, gave you a chuckle, some happiness, some positivity or inspiration. Don't forget to subscribe to Screens in Focus at screensinfocus.com. And remember to keep watching, keep exploring, and keep those screens in focus. We will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.